Welcome back. Yes, as you may have seen, Mr. John Oloyede, a legal practitioner, joins us next to weigh in on this matter. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Let me start where we left off, or we ended with the last guest, what he was talking about, an afterthought, and so suggesting that it matters little. Is that the case normally? In this case, is that what should be?
Well, it depends on the perspective from which you are looking at what the judges have alleged in their own write-ups. For a justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria to make that kind of allegation in writing against a serving minister, one cannot just trivialize it, take it as a triviality. And especially because I remember reading in some part of the letter to the NJC where that certain things have been attached to the letter, and these facts as contained in those attachments are verifiable. Now, when a justice of the Supreme Court says, I've attached certain documents or certain things, right, and these are verifiable, it says a lot about the person making that allegation. It doesn't sound like somebody who is just making a mere allegation. It says a lot about the fact that this is somebody who wants to fight, who wants to defend his integrity. There is a man, I know one of them rose up to the Supreme Court from the magistrate court. Now, for those of us in this line of practice, we know what it takes for you to start off as a lawyer, magistrate, high court judge, court of appeal judge, and Supreme Court judge. So the man is not just fighting for, just to clear his name. That's integrity now. The man is saying, you can't rubbish me. Are you with me? So it depends on the perspective. I assume that for somebody at that level of the judiciary to make that kind of allegation, and you will also realize that the initial reaction was, oh no, I have never met this man in my life, I've never met him. And then when things started happening, it's like, oh, I was invited. And so there was a shift. So there's a little to the left, a little to the right. One day we're going to meet all these people in the middle. So it's not trivial. I assume that we're on the home run in Nigeria. The unexpected, unanticipated visit of the DSS operatives to the judges' quarters is about the last straw. And despite the fact that Nigerians are they're just, it's like, look, we've had all these. This is more like Nollywood. I believe that Nigerians should be expectant. Something good will come out of this black pot, the white pap, because ultimately Nigerians will be the better for it.
But there are those who sit back and look at this whole scenario and think, look, yes, much as it gets Nigerians arguing on all fronts about what should be, what happened, but there seems to be a lot going on in the background that may not be out there in the open. From your perspective, where do you think this is headed?
Well, honestly, if you want me to speak honestly, except for the fact that I'm a legal practitioner, and so the attack is essentially against the judiciary, and by necessary implication, those of us who are lawyers. Because when people talk, you see diverse arguments on both sides of the divide. Lawyers against the judges, lawyers for the judges, and then people outside, depending on where they stand, is like, all of you people, all the judges and lawyers, you are all the same. You are the ones finishing this country. So to that extent, one would expect that, yes, this should lead somewhere. But then, I take myself out of that grouping, judiciary, legal practice thing, and I want to reason as a typical Nigerian, a discerning Nigerian, a Nigerian who has been watching and who has been very observant. And I say, look, this is realignment of forces. Ultimately, what is going to happen is, for instance, you hear that two weeks ago, this happened, I think that was 7th of October. We are now, today is 25th or 26th of October, 26th. And that's about 3 weeks ago, when this thing happened, We heard that it was a Saturday. Oh, they are going to be charged to court on Monday. 3 Mondays have come and gone. No judge has been charged to court. Now, suddenly, we heard that governors, everybody, they went to meet with Mr. President. And what did we get? Oh, Mr. President feels that there's been some shoddy things done in respect of this matter. EFCC should take over the file and do a more thorough job. This morning on my way here, I heard over this that some judges will be charged to court today. Are you with me? Now, how do you begin to, when matters were submitted to Mr. President, I mean, we heard in the news, and that it has not been denied, that the file has been transferred to EFCC for further investigation. And then you want to take that kind of case to court. And when you then get to court, the lawyer representing the accused persons, in quotes, starts off by saying, are you aware that Mr. President said, he's asking the man, the witness for DSS or EFCC, that it was in the news that Mr. President said the whole thing was shoddily done and that EFCC should take over investigation. And the man, what answer will he give? Will he say, I'm not aware? Or yes, I'm aware, but it's not true? As Mr. President said, it's not true. Now, that begins to break down the case for the prosecution. Nigerians out there, they keep on shouting, oh, judges are corrupt, this and that. The judiciary is corrupt. Like one of the justices you always show says, no, you don't just say the judiciary is corrupt. There are corrupt judges. Just like there are corrupt ministers. There are corrupt governors. Not all governors are corrupt. Are you with me? So when you start off by, leaking reports, leaking investigative details on through Sahara report. You tell them we found $200 million. It reduces suddenly to $39,000. You are already killing your own case. When you now take it to a judge, and the judge says, and the lawyer for the defense says, oh, after you have put all your evidence in there, and the man says, I want to make a no-case submission. The Nigerians will say, oh, they've started, these lawyers with their trouble. And then the man makes a no-case submission, and then the case gets thrown out. And they say, oh, the judges are corrupt.
Sorry, Chamberlain. I think, Mr. Oloyede, now I'm trying to see what that black pot and the white substance.
Yes, the pap and
so pure that will come out of the black pot. Yeah. With all of this analysis, it would seem as if we're almost having a peep at what will happen at the end of the day. But if you look at this, we'll come back to this.
Oh, yes.
We'll come back to this. Yeah. You started off by talking about the hard evidence, that the man has said, look, I have facts back in my petition.
Yes.
It's not just a frivolous one, but these are things that are verifiable.
Yes.
And we know how deep such words are when you say these are verifiable evidence. How does it work in a case like this? Because we've heard cases of, hey, step down, don't step down. What about the giver and the taker, or the alleged giver and the taker? In this case, in this scenario, what will mean the fight against corruption for the nation when we have this back and forth with the judiciary and even a finger pointing at some in the executive?
You see, that is the problem. That is the problem. Now, I always say this, and I'll repeat it. I think I have never had direct interaction with Mr. President. From the body language, the famed body language that all of us were inundated with, I think Mr. President means well for this country. I think he has a desire to rid this country of corruption. I cannot say that of his kitchen cabinet or those in the other room. I can't say that about them. But I think Mr. President means well. And I will also say categorically that he does not have a team that can deliver on that promise at the moment. Because most of the team, they are tainted. And when allegations like this fly around, that in respect of serious matters, cases involving two different parties, whatever the man before me said, it's an alibi, it's an afterthought. Or initially, before other facts came in, that was what I categorized it as. Oh, he's just looking for an alibi. But then the man says, because the speaker said he didn't put it in writing. Now, there's something a lot of us are missing, which is a justice of the Supreme Court said, look, I reported to, forget about the date issue. The issue here is, all of us agree that somebody said, oh, this judge is corrupt. The judge said, oh, one of you tried to reach me. Whether there was still opportunity for that judge to influence the decision or not, the important thing here is, he has said somebody tried to reach me in order to compromise me or to compromise a panel. Now, the question is, the man, having said all that, there is an issue that you tried to compromise a judge. The judge says, by reason of protocol, the NJC is recognized under the Constitution. The NJC. Now, because of checks and balances, the NJC was not put there just for the sake of it. It was put there so that, it will have a seeming insulation from executive or legislative interference. That's why they gave them a sort of independence that before you can be exposed to external afflictions, there must be an opportunity for self-cleansing. So that every petition comes through you, you treat it the way you deem fit. But if you're after treating, you can then send it out. The same way, it's a two-way thing. Now, judges are not supposed to, for instance, there's a case now, somebody bashes, judges are not supposed to walk into a police station directly and say, oh, when there's a matter involving a judge or justice of the Supreme Court, they have to go through the head. And they say, okay, this is what has happened. Now, the man has said, I reported to my head.
Verbally.
Well, I reported to my, now, I didn't see verbally in the letter. He just said, I reported. This is Nigeria. What the people on the other side are not saying is that a lot of things can happen in minutes. Documents can surface. Are you with me? So the man did not put it there. We are the ones imputing verbal. He said, I reported. Now, the CJN that he reported to is retiring next month. The CJN has not denied that it was reported to him. Are you with me? Now, in this matter, assuming this Justice of the Supreme Court is charged to court, and he goes to court,
Pardon me. Okay. Let's get that in before we go to break in a moment. Mark,